Hi, Rob Syke here. I'm at the National Alliance of Independent Crop Consultants in America. We're down here in Arizona. I'm a Canadian farm boy, and one of the crops that have found ourselves working into is cotton. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was genetic engineering, GMOs, GMO cotton. And I laugh when I see organic cotton you can buy in the store, and somehow that's better for you. So today, I'm just really thrilled to have, in my mind, I don't know of anybody who has more experience in crop consulting than this gentleman. This is Ray Young here. Started crop consulting in 1949, and it's 2018 right now. Ray's worked his whole life in cotton. And Ray, I want to talk to you about cotton. Thank you.
Good. I'd like to talk about cotton.
All right. You're a Louisiana farm boy originally?
Yes.
And you started consulting in 1949. You went to the war, you came back, and you started your own consulting business, and you grew. Now, you picked a crop called cotton to start your... Why did you do that?
That's where the problems were.
Insect
problems with cotton, the cotton boll weevil. It was a major pest.
So what did farmers do back then?
Well, they did a lot of funny things. There was a time when the farmers used calcium arsenate. It was a very slow killer, not a very effective weevil killer. But during World War II, a lot of byproducts from the chemical industry came out, and along came chlorinated hydrocarbon insecticides, and most of those were very good.
So calcium arsenate, and then migrated to the
chlorinated hydrocarbons.
Hydrocarbon.
Aldrin, dieldrin, benzene hexachloride.
How did they put this on back then?
Was in a dust.
In a dust.
In a dust with mostly a sulfur dust.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be good. Then all of a sudden, now we haven't put sulfur on the ground. We quit putting out the sulfur.
Yeah, sulfur.
So that brought on the problem. But anyway, that's the way it went out. And people were, the aerial applicators then were flying.
Crop dusters.
Crop dusters. They were flying these products on with this biplane they call a Yellow Peril. It was a Navy trainer plane during World War II. And when the war was over, they sold those things for $500 a piece, and they'd throw in an extra engine, brand new engine.
And that got a lot of crop duster business.
Got a lot of them in business. There were a lot of them out there.
Crop dusters. Yeah. More of them died there than they did in the war. Which is bad,
Yeah.
Ray, when we look at the evolution of insect control in cotton, this is a really interesting story, because there was a concerted effort to tackle the boll weevil issue. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Controlling the weevil, as I said, it was the biggest problem we had in growing cotton. And when you started treating the weevil, then you brought on other problems. You killed beneficial insects, and IPM in general is supposedly a fairly new thing, but we did IPM from the very beginning.
And that stands for integrated
we used
pest
insecticides
management.
when we had to. We didn't use them if we didn't need them, because we know that would bring on more problems. But we've been practicing IPM since the late 40s.
So integrated pest management is about making decisions to spray on insecticide when you need it, but you also knew that when you sprayed on indiscriminate insecticide, that you took out a lot of beneficial problems. So I'm going to lead forward now, because try to spin this story forward. We went through the era of those chlorinated hydrocarbons, right?
Right.
We went through the organophosphates, right? You remember all those pyrethrins, pyrethroids, all of that?
I'll tell you a little story along the way. We started using the chlorinated hydrocarbons in 47, I believe. In 1955, my first year back from service, the weevil got resistant to the chlorinated hydrocarbons, and we didn't do a very good job of controlling with the chlorinated hydrocarbons. I was considering going and doing a graduate degree in entomology, and the guy heading up entomology at LSU, Dr. L.D. Newsom, convinced me that I should come there and go to school in his program. And we knew in Louisiana that this weevil was resistant. It was not resistant to any extent in all the rest of the cotton belt. And the other people in the cotton belt said that we were wrong about this weevil being resistant. And Dr. L.D. Newsom said, if you'll come here and go to school this fall, we're gonna put you on a research project and we're gonna document the fact that this weevil is resistant. I knew it, a couple of other people knew it, most of the cotton belt didn't know it because they'd not experienced it. So that fall, we collected weevils from a resistant population, and the university had a farm close by Baton Rouge, where the university is. We had a susceptible population, so I had two good populations to compare, and we proved beyond the shadow of a doubt this weevil is resistant to chlorinated hydrocarbons.
So insects are a real problem in cotton.
They are a big problem in cotton. Yes.
So as we migrated through and we went through the era of muscle, which was horse and oxen, to the era of the tractor, to the era of chemistry, which we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then in mid-90s came along genetic engineering, or GMOs as people talk about. We had herbicide-resistant GMOs, but we also have something called insect resistance, or BT, Bacillus thuringiensis.
Yep.
Talk to me about what your impressions were when that came out and the difference it made.
We had a problem with, we have two worms that infest cotton. One is called the corn earworm, and one is the tobacco budworm. Now, in probably in the 70s, the tobacco budworm started getting resistant to the things that we were using back then,
Like the organophosphates.
And it was troublesome to control. The corn earworm was still fairly easy to control, but along in let's see, when the pyrethroids came along, I can't even tell. I'm sorry, I can't tell you what year they came out. They were extremely efficient when we first started using them, but then the tobacco budworm started getting resistant to the pyrethroids. Then fortunately they came out with the Bacillus thuringiensis gene in 1995 and 96. So that redeemed us again, because we were losing control of this tobacco budworm. So
you got
we got the gene with Bacillus thuringiensis.
So just so that you guys understand this, Bacillus thuringiensis is a naturally occurring organic bacterium that the organic industry uses. They spray it on the crop as a foliar, and the Lepidoptera, the bugs that you're talking about, eat it. And when they ingest Bacillus thuringiensis or BT, their alkaline guts can't handle it, and it does those bugs in. We're acidic gut, and we denature that. So when you eat organic food that's been treated with Bacillus thuringiensis sprayed on the food, you're ingesting and denaturing that BT, Bacillus thuringiensis. What we did with genetic engineering was we took those events or those key components of Bacillus thuringiensis, put them inside of cotton, and lo and behold, we had the cotton that you didn't have to spray insecticide on. I want to talk about the difference that made.
Tremendous amount of difference. It was just, it was a new day. It was a new day. One big difference it made, we did not have to apply insecticides to cotton nearly as much as we had in the past. We were up to $150, $200 an acre.
How many times would a farmer spray insecticide?
16, 18 times.
16 or 18
yes,
times.
There was a time of a few years we actually had as much as 20 applications on the cotton.
So these are the good old days people want us to go back to.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's such a story. With the genetically modified organism, this new way of breeding and bringing these proteins into a plant that will control insects, it saved untold pounds and pounds of insecticide that are applied out into the atmosphere. We don't do near as many of those as we used to.
So one of our colleagues, Dr. Will McCarty, who you know, anecdotally, Will told me that we have reduced the active ingredient, the number of active pounds of active ingredient, from 24 pounds per acre to less than 4.
At one time, we were putting out that much, yes. Oh, and it's much less than 4 now of active.
So what would you like to tell people who are against GMOs and who are buying all this organic cotton product? Like, they think that it's, what do you think?
I don't know how. there are groups in this country that will sell fear. They'll tell people things that are really not true. But the general populace out there tends to believe that GMO is something in that plant. There's nothing, a GMO is not in the plant, it's simply a method of plant breeding. You're not eating a GMO, you know.
Yeah.
And when I talk to people about it, I say, if you're alive today, you've been eating GMO for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Because plant breeding has been
And it is, a
for a long
GMO
time.
isn't an ingredient that you can label that's inside of the food or the produce. It's a breeding process to get that Bacillus thuringiensis inside of there.
And save all that insecticide that's being applied by air.
Yeah. So if we abolish GMO cotton, what are we going to do?
Bottom line would be we'd probably quit raising cotton, but if we didn't, we'd be back to spraying 15 to 20 times a year.
Right.
With pounds and pounds of active ingredient.
So how are these organic guys raising this cotton?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they're doing it. They're not raising very many pounds to the acre, I can tell you that.
Right.
They're simply not doing it.
So Ray, in your career, which has spanned literally from 1949 to 2018, can you comment just, there's so much of it you can comment on, but your observation of the evolution of crop breeding technology.
Oh, it has been so good. It used to take 10 to 15 years to come up with a new variety. A lengthy, arduous process of getting a new variety, but this whole thing is just revolutionized. Coming up with new varieties, introducing new traits, and as we've said before, stopping putting out so much insecticides into the atmosphere. All of the changes have been good. It's helping us feed a world at a price people can afford.
Yeah, clothe people at a price they can afford.
It doesn't cost as much as it used to. It's actually much safer. A product that's genetically modified, most cases, is actually safer than a product that you go out and spray on umpteen spray an application of insecticide.
How is it that we can get this message across to the general public?
Oh my goodness.
It's
more of what I heard from you this morning. More people need to hear what you had to say to us this morning.
Yeah.
More and more people.
Yeah.
I wish I could do it like you do.
There's a science side and a reason to do what we're doing. And when I hear people saying we want to go back to the good old days, of spraying insecticide on 15 to 20 times through the growing season, indiscriminately killing beneficials as well as targets, that's not the answer.
And the things that we're doing, all the new things that we do, so different from years past. In this country, we have the safest, most affordable, and most abundant food supply of any place in the world. And it's because of all these good things that have come along.
You said to me that every banquet,
every meal is a banquet, and every day is a holiday to live in this country.
There we go. Well, I think we'll end it there. This is Ray Young. It's been a pleasure, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.